Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. Have you ever had a day where your mind feels like a monkey, jumping from one thought to another, worrying, stressing, overthinking? Well, and by the end of the day, you feel more tired in your mind than in your body. We live in a world where the outside noise is loud, but the inside noise is even louder. The good news is calmness is not a luxury, it's a habit. And today, I want to share with you some simple daily habits, not complicated ones, that can truly bring peace to your restless mind. Because, my friends, a calm mind is not just peaceful, it's powerful. My dear friends, let me ask you a simple question. What is the very first thing you do when you wake up in the morning? For most of us, the answer is not prayer, not gratitude, not silence, it's something else. We open our eyes and straight away we stretch out our hand and grab the phone. Correct? Our pause, smile, audience laughter, we don't even realize. But the very first thing many of us give our mind in the morning is not peace, but panic. You see a text, a missed call, an email, breaking news, someone's picture, someone's opinion, and before you even brush your teeth, the world has already invaded your mind. And then we wonder, why is my mind restless? Why is my heart anxious? Why am I already tired at 10 a.m.? It's because we've given away the steering wheel of our mind to the world before we even sat in the driver's seat. Let me share something interesting. Imagine you have a jar of clean, fresh water. If you immediately drop mud into it, what will happen? It gets cloudy, right? But if you let it sit quietly, the dirt settles and the water becomes clear again. Our mind is exactly like that jar of water. The morning silence allows the dirt to settle before the world starts throwing mud into it. So, what should we do? For the first 5 minutes, just 5, sit in silence. Don't touch your phone, don't switch on the TV, don't check your messages. Just breathe. Close your eyes. Listen to the sound of your breath. Feel the stillness. Let the morning greet you before the notifications attack you. And you know what's amazing? Science now confirms this. When you start your day with silence, your brain produces calmer brain waves, which reduce stress and increase focus throughout the day. But spiritual traditions have known this for centuries. Every culture, every wisdom teacher has emphasized the power of morning silence. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need a mountain, you don't need a cave, you don't even need incense sticks. You just need yourself, present, awake, and quiet. Because, my friends, remember this, the world will always shout. The world will always demand. But your mind has a choice. Either start the day as a servant of noise or as a master of peace. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, instead of rushing to the world, try waiting with yourself in silence. I promise you, those 5 minutes can change the way you live the next 15 hours of your day. Friends, let me ask you, how many of you breathe? Of pause, smile, audience, laughter, of course, all of you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be sitting here, you'd be lying in the hospital. But let me ask you again, how many of you are truly aware of your breathing? Not many, and that's the real problem. We breathe about 20,000 times a day. But here's the interesting part, we are rarely conscious of even a single breath. Imagine if your salary came 20,000 times a day, but you were not aware of it even once. How much money would you lose? In the same way, when we ignore our breathing, we lose the most precious wealth we have, our calmness. I'll tell you a little story. A man once asked a monk, "What is the secret of peace?" The monk smiled and said, "The secret is hidden in something you've been doing since birth." The man thought about food, about water, about sleep, but the monk said, no, it's your breath. When you control your breath, you control your mind. And you know what? Even modern science agrees. When you're stressed, your breathing becomes shallow and fast. When you're calm, your breathing is slow and deep. So it works both ways. If you calm your breath, you calm your mind. But here's the challenge. When life gets chaotic, we forget to breathe properly. Think about it. The moment you're angry, how's your breath? Heavy. When you're anxious, how's your breath? Uneven. When you're peaceful, how's your breath? Smooth and slow. So what's the solution? Practice breath awareness every single day. Just 3 minutes is enough. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and simply observe your breathing. Don't try to change it. Just notice the air going in and coming out. If thoughts come, let them pass. Your breath is like an anchor. It keeps you steady when the storms of the mind try to pull you away. And if you want a little practice, let me share one with you. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds. It's called box breathing. Navy SEALs use it in combat to stay calm under fire. If it can keep soldiers calm in the middle of a war zone, it can surely help us stay calm. When we're stuck in traffic, in audience laughter, remember this: your breath is the remote control of your emotions. Most people look for peace outside, in vacations, in shopping, in entertainment. But true calmness is free, always with you, in every single breath you take. So tomorrow, or even right now, give yourself this gift. When you feel stressed, don't immediately pick up the phone or distract yourself. Just pause and take a deep breath. Because sometimes the shortest distance between chaos and peace is just one mindful breath. My friends, let me share something that has quietly stolen our peace of mind without us even realizing it. Our little glowing device, the smartphone. Isn't it true that this one object has become our alarm clock, our calendar, our diary, our entertainer, our photographer, our teacher, and our constant companion? It's almost like we are in a relationship with it. But here's the funny part. It's often a toxic relationship. How many of you have experienced this? You sit down to do one important task, maybe to study, maybe to work, maybe to read something valuable, and suddenly your phone buzzes. You think, let me just check for 2 minutes. 2 minutes become 20, 20 become 40, and before you know it, the task is forgotten. Has this ever happened to you? Pause, smile as audience laughs or nods. That's the power of notifications. They are like tiny thieves that come disguised as friends. Do you know why? Every time a notification comes, your brain releases a small dose of dopamine, the pleasure chemical. It makes you feel excited, curious, almost addicted. And that is why, even when we are in the middle of a conversation, we suddenly break eye contact and look at our phone. Have you seen this? Sometimes, we respect the phone more than the person in front of us. That's how powerful these devices have become. Now, don't get me wrong, phones are not evil. Technology is not our enemy. In fact, it is a blessing. The problem is not technology, the problem is our lack of boundaries with it. Just like fire can cook food or burn down a house, phones can connect us to the world or disconnect us from our own peace of mind. So what can we do? We need digital boundaries. And that starts with one simple habit: decide when you will use your phone and when you will not. Instead of checking it every time it buzzes, choose fixed windows in your day. For example, check messages only 3 times: morning, afternoon, and evening. The rest of the time, let the phone wait for you. Why should you always wait for the phone? Another powerful practice: Turn off unnecessary notifications. Do you really need to know instantly when someone has liked your picture or when a new video has been uploaded? Ask yourself honestly, does the world end if you see it later? Most of the noise is not urgent, but our mind treats it as an emergency. And here's a beautiful practice. Have a no phone zone in your day. For instance, no phone during meals, no phone during conversations, and no phone before bed. Some families even have a basket where everyone puts their phone when they sit together. Imagine how powerful that is. The message is clear. People are more important than pixels. Friends, our mind was not designed to handle constant interruptions. Every time your focus is broken, your brain takes several minutes to recover. That's why, after a day full of phone distractions, you feel mentally exhausted, even if you haven't done much work. But when you protect your focus by limiting phone usage, your mind feels lighter, calmer, and stronger. Let me share a simple thought with you. If you become the servant of your phone, your peace will always be disturbed. But if you make your phone your servant, your peace will be preserved. So the next time your phone buzzes, don't jump like a puppet. Take a breath, smile, and remind yourself, I will respond when I choose, not when my phone chooses. That one boundary can return so much calmness to your life. My dear friends, let me take you into a habit that looks so small on the outside, but is so powerful on the inside. It's the practice of gratitude. You see, we human beings have a natural tendency to focus on what is missing rather than what is present. Isn't that true? If we have 10 things going well in life and one thing going wrong, where does our mind go? Straight to the one thing that's missing. Someone can give us 99 compliments and one criticism, and where do we put our energy? On the criticism. Our mind is like Velcro for negativity and Teflon for positivity. It sticks to problems but lets blessings slide away. But here's the irony, the happiest people in the world are not the ones who have the most. They are the ones who appreciate the most. Gratitude doesn't change your possessions, it changes your perception. It's not about adding more to your life, but about seeing more in what you already have. I remember once meeting a man who had lost his eyesight. Do you know what he told me? He said, I may not see the beauty of the world, but I can hear the laughter of my grandchildren. I can feel the warmth of the sun. I can smell the fragrance of flowers, and for that I'm grateful. That moment struck me deeply. If someone without sight can still see blessings, what excuse do we have? Science also agrees. Research shows that when you practice gratitude daily, your brain actually rewires itself. Gratitude releases serotonin and dopamine, the feel-good chemicals that improve your mood, reduce anxiety, and even help you sleep better. Imagine that just by saying thank you sincerely every day, you're giving your brain a natural medicine. And unlike pills, there are no side effects, only side benefits. Compose, smile. So how can we make gratitude a daily habit? It's very simple. Every morning before you start your day, just think of 3 things you're grateful for. It could be as big as your family or as small as your cup of tea. Write them down or simply close your eyes and feel them. For example, you might say, I'm grateful for this new day. I'm grateful for the food I will eat. I'm grateful for the people who love me. The more specific you are, the more powerful the practice becomes. And here's another idea. Before you go to sleep, instead of scrolling endlessly through your phone, reflect for 2 minutes and ask yourself, what are the 3 good things that happened today? You'll be surprised. Maybe it was a smile from a stranger, maybe a good meal, maybe a kind word from a colleague. When you sleep with gratitude in your heart, your mind rests more peacefully. Now, some people say, but I have so many problems. How can I be grateful? Let me tell you this, gratitude is not about denying problems. It's about not letting problems blind you to the blessings that still exist. Problems are a part of life, yes, but so are blessings. Gratitude doesn't erase struggles, but it gives you the strength to face them with a calmer mind. Let me put it like this, gratitude is like a pair of glasses. Without them, life looks blurry, negative, and incomplete. With them, you suddenly see clearly the beauty, the kindness, the abundance that was always there, but hidden behind the fog of complaints. So, my friends, starting today, make gratitude your morning coffee and your evening dessert. Begin and end your day with it. Because when you count your blessings, your mind stops counting your worries. And remember, a grateful heart is a calm heart, and a calm heart is a powerful heart. My dear friends, let me take you to one of the most ordinary activities we do every single day, eating. We do it at least 3 times a day, sometimes more, and yet for most of us, it has become the most unconscious act of our lives. Eating has become mechanical. We sit with a plate of food in front of us, but our mind is everywhere else, scrolling on the phone, watching television, talking endlessly, or thinking of tomorrow's problems. The food goes into the body, but peace never enters the mind. Have you noticed how we often eat with such speed, as if we're participating in a competition? Who can finish their food the fastest? Sometimes we eat in such a rush that by the time the last bite is done, we don't even remember tasting the first bite. It's almost like our stomach had dinner, but our mind skipped it completely. Now let me ask you, if you went to a concert of your favorite singer, would you be scrolling Instagram the entire time? No, you would want to savor every moment, every note, every sound. But strangely, when we sit in front of a plate of food, a gift of nature, full of flavors, colors, textures, we don't savor it at all. Instead, we treat food as fuel to be dumped inside as quickly as possible so we can get back to being busy. And yet, ancient traditions have always taught us to eat mindfully. In many cultures, people begin meals with a prayer of gratitude, thanking nature, the farmer, the cook, and the divine for the food on their plate. Why? Because gratitude slows you down and slowness brings calmness. When you chew slowly, taste consciously, and eat in silence, you're not just feeding your stomach, you're also feeding your soul. Even science today agrees, when we eat in a distracted way, while on our phone, laptop, or TV, we tend to overeat. The brain doesn't register fullness properly, and we end up consuming more than we need. But when we eat mindfully, slowly, with awareness, digestion improves, stress reduces, and even our immunity strengthens. Mindful eating is not just a spiritual idea, it's a scientific one too. Let me share a little practice with you. The next time you sit to eat, put your phone away. Just look at the food on your plate. Notice its colors, its fragrance, its texture. As you take the first bite, chew slowly. Feel the taste spreading on your tongue. Thank nature, thank the cook, thank life for allowing this food to nourish you. Don't rush to swallow. Let each bite be an experience, not a task. I once heard a wise teacher say, when you eat fast, your mind races. When you eat slow, your mind slows. And isn't that what we are seeking? A calm, slow, peaceful mind. Now, someone might say, but I'm so busy, I don't have time for mindful eating. And I say, if you don't have time to eat mindfully, then you will certainly waste more time later dealing with stress, poor digestion, and fatigue. Eating with awareness doesn't take more time, it saves you from unnecessary troubles later. There's also another beauty here. When we eat mindfully, we automatically begin to eat less. Why? Because we finally hear our body whispering, I'm full. In distracted eating, we ignore this whisper until it becomes a shout of discomfort. Mindful eating brings us back in tune with our body's wisdom. Friends, food is not just nutrition, it's meditation. Every meal is an opportunity to pause, slow down, and reconnect with yourself. Eating mindfully is like telling your mind, calm down. You don't always have to rush. Life can be savored just like this bite. So tomorrow, when you sit down with your plate, remember this. You're not just feeding your body, you're also training your mind. And a mindful bite is far more powerful for your calmness than a distracted meal. In short, don't just eat to live, live through the way you eat. My dear friends, let me take you outside for a moment. Not outside this hall, but outside the walls of our daily routines, into something we often forget to connect with: nature. You see, nature is not just a background scenery for our lives, it is the very foundation of our calmness. But sadly, in our modern lifestyle, we spend more time with screens than with skies, more time with concrete than with trees, and more time with virtual reality than with actual reality. And then we ask, why am I so restless? Why do I feel so disconnected? The answer is simple. We have drifted too far away from where we truly belong. Think about this. For thousands of years, human beings lived in close connection with the earth, the forests, the rivers, the mountains. Our ancestors woke up with the sunrise, worked in fresh air, ate food straight from the soil, and went to bed with the sunset. Life was simple, but the mind was peaceful. Today, our lives are filled with technology, comfort, and convenience, but our minds are more restless than ever. Isn't it interesting? We have everything to live, but we have forgotten how to feel alive. Let me share a small example. Have you ever gone to the beach and just sat quietly, listening to the sound of the waves? Something magical happens, doesn't it? You feel calmer, lighter, almost as if the ocean has taken away your worries. Or perhaps you've walked in a garden early in the morning, hearing birds sing, watching the sunlight filter through the trees, smelling the fragrance of flowers. In those moments, you don't need entertainment. You don't need social media. You don't need noise. Nature itself becomes your therapy. And science confirms this too. Studies show that spending just 10 minutes in nature lowers stress hormones, improves concentration, and even enhances happiness. Doctors in some countries are now prescribing nature walks as medicine for anxiety and depression. Imagine that: trees becoming your therapists, rivers becoming your healers, sunlight becoming your energy drink. And the best part, it's free of cost and available to everyone. But sadly, many of us treat nature like a wallpaper, something that looks nice in pictures but is ignored in real life. We drive past parks without stopping. We close curtains when the sunlight enters. We choose air-conditioned gyms over fresh air walks. It's almost as if we've locked ourselves inside boxes, forgetting that the real medicine for our restless mind is waiting just outside. So what can we do? Start small. Spend 10 minutes every day with nature. Step out onto your balcony, feel the morning sunlight on your face. Walk barefoot on grass and notice the coolness under your feet. Water a plant, touch its leaves, watch it grow. Sit under a tree and listen. Not with your phone, but with your heart. These are not just activities, they are rituals of calmness. And here's something powerful. When you connect with nature, your ego becomes smaller. Standing before a mountain, You realize how tiny your problems really are. Looking at the endless sky, you understand how temporary your worries are. Watching the cycles of sunrise and sunset, you remember that change is natural and nothing lasts forever. Nature doesn't just calm your mind, it also teaches you wisdom. Let me put it simply, a few minutes with nature can do what hours of scrolling can never do. Social media may give you distraction, but nature gives you healing. A phone screen may light up your eyes, but the sun lights up your soul. So, my friends, tomorrow morning or evening, don't just rush into your car or your work. Pause, step outside, look up at the sky, listen to the birds, breathe in the air. Even if it's just for 5 minutes, give yourself that gift. Because the closer you are to nature, the closer you are to your natural state of peace. Remember this, a calm mind doesn't always need a meditation hall. Sometimes it just needs a tree. Puff, my dear friends, today we have walked together through simple daily habits, morning silence, mindful breathing, setting digital boundaries, practicing gratitude, eating consciously, connecting with nature, simplifying our day, and many more. These are not just ideas to hear, they are practices to live. You see, peace of mind is not a grand event waiting for us at the end of the year. It's a daily choice we make every morning, every evening, every breath. We keep searching for calmness in faraway places, in expensive retreats, in exotic vacations. But the truth is, calmness is not hidden in the Himalayas, it's hidden in your habits. And remember, small things done daily are far more powerful than big things done occasionally. 5 minutes of silence, one deep breath, one mindful meal, one act of gratitude. These little drops, when added together, can fill the ocean of peace in your life. So as you leave here today, don't just carry these words in your notebook. Carry them in your heart. Try one habit, just one, and let it grow. Because a calm mind is not just a peaceful mind, it is a powerful mind. And when your mind is calm, your decisions are clearer, your relationships are deeper, and your life becomes more meaningful. So I leave you with this thought. If you want to change your life, don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for the perfect time. Begin today. Begin now. Begin with a single simple habit to calm your mind. Thank you, and may your days ahead be filled with calmness, clarity, and joy.